tell you about the North Korean regime, who has nuclear weapons. They have nuclear weapons. They're threatening South Korea. They're threatening South Korea. I mean, people think about this. And I just don't understand where the Republicans are. Donald Trump will shoot his mouth off one of these days and say, oh, well, look, he hates North Koreans. Well, yeah. And so I think that's, another reason that, we're talking about this. We look at North Korea. And this should be an opportunity to point out the superiority of our American system, where a guy tries to attack a presidential candidate who's out on bail in a half an hour, opposed to 15 years in jail for basically ripping up a lawn sign.
Yep.
Or people inside, minor vandalism that you wouldn't even get. Nobody in Chicago was arrested. There were no arrests in Chicago. Right. Not one.
Well, Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel ordered that no one be arrested, just like he ordered that the cops not be able to wear helmets, and some got hurt for just that reason. Real credit to the Jewish people, Rahm Emanuel is. Wasn't it great?
He ordered that they not wear helmets. I was wondering. I saw that cop with a bleeding head.
Yep.
So I think there may have been 2 or 3 arrests, and those guys are probably nothing's going to happen to them.
I heard 0 arrests, or at least that it was ordered. Hey, one final thing. As I think about Rahm Emanuel, real credit to the Jewish people. Dealing with these protesters funded by George Soros, a real credit to the Jewish people. And this, these guys all support Bernie Sanders, a real credit to the Jewish people. I really got bothered the other day. I saw this guy who claims to be an Orthodox rabbi. He's the cool rabbi in Pico Robertson in L.A., Rabbi Yonah. And he started putting all this vitriol about Trump, Nazi, on his Facebook page. I called him out on it. And then he meanwhile is also talking about what a great guy Bernie Sanders is. Because basically he likes getting the free food at Chabad every now and then. It really, I understand with Reform Judaism, half the people who go to those synagogues aren't Jewish anyway, and it is a wing of the Democratic Party. You know it. But I don't know about you, I'm really bothered by these guys who present themselves as Orthodox rabbis. I'd love to challenge them on what Leviticus says about gays, which is pretty damn clear. And then putting this vitriol about Trump, and it's really disgusting with the Nazi thing, when I'm sure they're there for Holocaust remembrance.
Let me bring Daniel Greenfield alerted me to this. He was talking about Bernie Sanders not being a Jew, because he's ethnically a Jew, and although he doesn't have anything to do with Judaism and downplays his Jewishness. But
that's not true, by the way. That's not true. He does. He has been. He does interact with Chabad in Vermont, and he doesn't pretend he's not a Jew.
With Chabad, and he gives them something for free, and then he gives somebody else for something.
Okay, but that's better than most. That's better than most.
What's that?
Well, that's better than a lot of people do. I mean, he doesn't pretend he's not Jewish. He doesn't, try to be something.
No, he doesn't pretend he's not Jewish. He doesn't pretend that he is. And, he says this is, I don't know how long if he even knows what that is, but, social justice. But here's the point. There's a concept called, a person is called Ben Nakar, I believe it is. If you go to Daniel Greenfield, he has a piece on Bernie Sanders. And Ben Nakar is son of an idolater. And they're considered Jewish, but they were in temple times not permitted to offer the Korban sacrifice in the temple, because they had separated, Heretic isn't quite the word that they use, but they had separated themselves by being idolaters. Spinoza was excommunicated from his shul. So there is such a thing as somebody being Jewish but not part of the community, because they have become idolaters. And I don't know how that concept really works. It's the first time I've ever heard of it. But it applies to somebody like Sanders, whose religion is this so-called democratic socialism. I don't know what democratic socialism is. That's how Soviet Stalinism started.
Yes.
Soviets were democratic elected representatives, and it evolved into this dictatorship as did North Korea. But the point of the matter is that there's something about in the Jewish community that these people are not to be considered the same as a Torah-centered Jew. You can have, the Talmud has lots of flex for lots of different things, but there's certain things that there is no flex on. And I don't know why the Orthodox and the Jewish community do not stand up for Torah values a little bit more than they do.
Yeah.
I wish they did. Publicly. Well, we can't get involved in...
Right. Follow the money, Bob. Follow the money. But, I mean, I got to say, from my perspective, I'm not so bothered by Bernie Sanders, who was born to a Jewish mother and a Jewish father, but it's the mother that's relevant, and chooses that it's not what he wants. I mean, look, it would be great if everyone did, but he doesn't pretend to be something he's not. He's not disrespectful to it. He's not hostile toward it. It's just not who he is. And it's, by the way, not who his parents were either. I'm so much less bothered by that than these guys who present themselves as Orthodox rabbis and use that as a political forum, which is, by the way, also a violation of 501c3 status. Repeat the Nazi stuff against Trump, promote the Nazi stuff against Trump while promoting Sanders and calling themselves Orthodox rabbis. That really bothers me.
Correct. Well, you're exactly right. I mean, people say that, and I admire Bernie Sanders for his honesty. I have not heard him lie about anything. He is quite clear about what he wants, and he repeatedly says it. So he is what he is, and, we don't have to agree with it, but he's not a liar. But these Orthodox rabbis who pretend to be Torah rabbis who then preach something exactly the opposite are worse. They're Shonda for the Goyim.
Yeah.
It's like, you're wearing a kippah, eating a ham and cheese sandwich. What does that tell the Goyim? So, I feel the same way you do. I'm appalled by it. And all these people claiming Judaism allows this, Judaism allows that. Judaism says a lot of things. And if you listen to it, it does not say vote Bernie Sanders. It doesn't say don't vote Bernie Sanders, but you don't have to be a socialist to be a Jew, where the Jew is not necessarily a socialist. There's respect for private property, and communal values doesn't mean socialist values. The difference between community is that you are to make tzedakah, to give tzedakah voluntarily. Somebody puts a gun to your head, it's not tzedakah.
Right. Right. I guess.
And the Orthodox Union, you're right, the Orthodox Union takes money, they all take money from these schools, they all interact, and then they downplay their values to the point where, you're listening out there and you don't know what these values are. Well, I thought we were supposed to be a light of the nation promoting Torah values. Torah values, it has certain implications